Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into the Dorton and Doetkott Debate Podcast, taping from the 2024 State Amateur Baseball Tournament, currently right now at the beautiful Mini-Met in Jordan, Minnesota. Just wanted to start off by giving a massive shout-out to not only the Jordan Brewers themselves for letting us record here, but also for the state board as well, too, for giving us the opportunity to chat with some players, get this cool opportunity, and probably one of the best parts of summer, in my opinion. A huge shout-out to the players that we're going to have coming on today. Really looking forward to chatting with some of the guys, too, and give you a little bit of insight in town ball. But, Nick, real quick, what's something that you're excited for this for the games today?
I mean, there's a lot of good pitching the first weekend of state, so you see some really good pitching, which is always fun to see. We've seen some home runs. Hopefully will be hit. Yep. Jordan's not the deepest ballpark, hopefully. Yep. And today we have there's a game between Loretto and Atwater with Corey Koski, former major leaguer, and his kids.
Former twin,
and another
absolutely.
former leaguer's kid is starting pitcher of the Atwater, so that should be a good game. And, yeah, it's just a beautiful day, so I'm just looking forward to some baseball.
Absolutely. Well, tune in, folks. We've got a great show for you. And once again, thank you to everyone that allowed us to be here today. It's been an awesome experience. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into the State Amateur Tournament 2024. We are live at the Jordan site here, boots on the ground, talking to some folks here. Here we have with us second-time joiner of the pod, Mitchell Matthews, head coach of the Gaylord Islanders. Mitchell, how you doing?
Good. Beautiful day for baseball here at the Mini-Met. Good game behind us, so it's a lot of
Good
fun.
to see Mitchell's beautiful face this time around.
That's right. Yeah, no technical difficulties today. So we are
swing that one today.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are able to have him now, which is good. Like you mentioned, Mitchell, just an unbelievable day to watch some baseball. We got Nisswa and Princeton playing right now. But Mitchell, obviously, the Gaylord Islanders, Walsh Field is going to be one of the host sites for next year's state tournament. I guess right now, at this point, what all has been taking place to get ready for next year?
For sure. I mean, you got the yearly just edging the field, making sure it looks good around the ballpark. But currently, we're in the process of redoing the bullpens. We're going to tear out the grass and put in turf. And we're hoping to transfer some of the old mound stuff or home plate to the mound in the bullpens. We're redoing both the mound and the home plate at some point. Brand new dugouts, extending them longer, deeper, and putting a fence out in front like Arlington's got them. So I think that's the main stuff. I'm sure there's a ton of other stuff planned, but that's what we got this fall. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously seeing things going at state tournaments kind of your whole life now. What are some of the things that you've seen at other parks that you think would be a cool addition to bring on and bring to Gaylord too? Maybe keep a tradition going or something
For sure.
like that.
I mean, like these decks are really cool to watch the decks, whether it's in Jordan or Green Isle. They've got a couple nice decks, and we don't really have that yet. I think that's a potential. I don't know if they're going to get to that before next year. But that's always nice. I mean, seating's, I guess, kind of tough in Gaylord. We're kind of locked in fence-wise, so we got to bring in chairs or tables or benches or whatever you got to do. So you can only pretty much build up. There's not much else we can do there. So it's kind of limited in that aspect,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, obviously, when we brought you on before the beginning of the season, going to kind of shift to Gaylord Islanders ball now. This was before the season started when we talked to you a little bit. So now, first season manager under the books here. You got your feet wet a little bit with that. Talk a little bit about how the season went. Obviously, not exactly how you wanted it to go for sure, but I think a lot of things to probably build off of though.
Yeah, no, it turned out to be a lot younger team than I expected. A couple veterans didn't come back or were very limited in being around. So that was difficult. Obviously, we were in a lot of games other than pretty much Jordan. Just couldn't get the clutch hits. Let a lot of guys on base. Yeah, definitely some stuff to work on for next year. Obviously, who knows what next year is going to be, with a lot of questions about player personnel and teams, and so it'll be interesting.
Absolutely.
What was it like having the duo of Dorton and Doetkott Debate combined for the win and the save and
Yeah,
the first Gaylord Islanders game of the year?
When I think we've all discussed it, it's very interesting to play against friends, but then you're on the other team, so you're sitting there at third base, and I think I said once or twice, like, come on, just sit back and you'll hit Lucas. Just sit back, relax. It's easier said than done, I guess. I'm not out there with the bat in my hand. And then obviously Nick comes in throwing a bit harder than Lucas.
Yeah. you guys all heard that, right?
Well, he almost blew it at the end, but
Almost.
I think we got a revenge game too. If you want to talk about that one.
Yeah, we didn't pitch that game.
Yeah,
That's true.
That was a fun one, though. That was a fun one. You kind of hit the nail on the head with, like, tough playing against friends. I mean, I would say, Mitch, you probably know me best pitching-wise more than most other people, besides, like, my own teammates or people that have caught me. And there's a couple times I was dying, runner at second base. You're just like, he's not gonna throw over. He's not gonna throw over.
For sure.
No, that was good.
Yeah, no, it's like I said. I mean, Arlington and Gaylord, each team knows each other so well. I mean, Alex is yelling from the dugout, saying, like, moving. He's had Nate for how many years pitching or on his team, and he's like, move in this way to Nick, and he just didn't move in enough. I mean, he hits it still right in front of Nick.
Yeah.
Turn to him and say, I guess he didn't move him in enough. And it wasn't like trying to be a dick, but it was just like, hey, you knew what it was going to happen. It just wasn't enough. It's no different than, like you said, I mean, right away when he started throwing, I caught you how many times.
Yep.
I mean, just myself, I don't pick guys off either.
Right.
So it's like,
right.
okay, just relax. And
Yeah.
I mean, if he picks you off, that's on me. That's not on you.
Right. So now next year, obviously getting into next year is going to be a double duty of being not only getting ready for state, but also managing now second year for the Gaylord Islanders.
Yep.
I guess speaking more on the Gaylord side of things, what kind of things do you know now, being in the managerial role, that you maybe didn't know when you first came into it that'll prep you better for this next season?
For sure. I think for the most part, it's just the guys on the team are willing. Like, there's 5 or 6 guys on the team that are anywhere from 5 to 10 years older than I am. Well, in some cases, more than that. So I was worried about how that was going to come across, but I think everybody kind of knows where I stand. I want to be aggressive, but I also want some accountability on the team, whether you've been on the team for 1 year or 10 years. So I think that's we laid the groundwork, so it's not many question marks on what I expect next year. But obviously, I mean, with A, B, and C tournaments next year and the reclassification and potential changing of regions, a lot's going to be different. I mean, it might be more the same in the regular season, but certain games may not mean as much, and we'll see how that. But either way, you got to show up and play the games you have on the schedule. So.
Now, how are you going to try to manage, obviously being the manager of the Gaylord Islanders, as well as getting ready for state? Obviously, you're not the only person that is dealing with stuff for state. There's, you probably make a whole podcast and all the people that are going to help make it great. But what will kind of be your role in I guess the state side of things with that?
That's a great question. I will do whatever they ask.
Bring the 4-wheeler around.
Right. Yeah. No. Like I said, that'd be nice we've discussed that before. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I mean, like I said, within the next month or two, we've got to get all those projects, whether it's the home plate, the bullpens, the dugouts done. I think we're doing the bullpens ourselves. We're tearing out the grass, like I said, and putting down the turf. So I'm sure I'll do whatever they need me to do there. I've kind of already begun the process of ordering new bats, new baseballs, kind of all that stuff, so then it's done, so I don't have to worry about it next year. I still plan on coaching the Legion team next year, so I'll be having to kind of work that into the schedule. So it's going to be busy. So hopefully I know we've got quite a few of our board members and players that'll help with the field as we go. Obviously, it's going to be something that we can't just wait till the last week before the tournament and say, hey, let's get this field ready for the state. So it's going to be from game 1, high school, assuming varsity's still in Gaylord. Legion won't be in Gaylord, so then I think it's pretty much just going to be town team, the 10 games we have in town team, and then there's state. So I think it'll be interesting, but it'll be a lot of fun and great way to showcase our ballpark and great experience for sure.
Absolutely. Now, chatting about town ball games now in the state tournament, You have been a part of a state team a few years ago. So what was a couple times now? So what was your favorite memory from the times? I guess a twofold question: from when you were a part of state, and then what is your favorite part of state that you weren't a part of? Like maybe just as a fan, like today or something like that.
So like I've made it 3 times: 2016, 2020, and 2022. Obviously, I didn't play in any of the games, which is all good. But 2016, Brody Rodney was there. I got the task of warming him up.
Oh,
along with
who's now a Double-A pitcher, folks, for the
Right.
Houston Astros. If that means anything.
playing
to you.
long toss, which was me throwing it as far as I could, running, and then Brody running in to catch it, and then me going back and him going back to his spot and throwing it back to me.
That's funny.
I can't remember where the game was.
Watkins?
I don't remember where it was in 16, but no matter where it was, there was a whole bunch of sitting by our bullpen. And the first pitch, you hear that snap of the glove, and everybody's kind of like, wow, that's... And all of a sudden, before I know, I look back, and there's about 100 people behind us watching it. 100, I'm not kidding.
Pressure
it's not
gets
an
up a little bit.
exaggeration.
Yep.
Right. So then after a couple pitches, he's like, okay, I'm done with the fastball. Let's go with the slider. Okay, he's a lefty, pretty dang good slider, and I'm not a catcher by any means. And I've got a helmet on or a mask, and that's it. So I'm just, okay, anything close, I'm getting the hell out of the way. So slider, I think I got it, and it right in the foot. And like, okay, so he comes and grabs the ball, because it rolls all the way back to him pretty much. And I'm just trying not to limp. Hurts like hell. And he's like, you okay? Yep, I'm okay. Not great. And 2016, that was our senior year of high school. And it's like, okay, no, not feeling too good, but we'll figure it out. So 2020.
I believe Sartell's pitcher was a minor leaguer that year too, wasn't he?
I think that was 2020. That was that year. Because
Oh,
2016
okay.
It was Waconia or Winstead. It was Winstead in that.
Oh, you played Tony Clay.
Yeah, Tony Clay,
Yeah.
the two best pitchers in the state, facing each other the first game of the year, or the state game. Which I guess I didn't realize that they lined stuff up like that. But it's obviously not predetermined who you're going to play before the tournament. They kind of stack it, so they had the two best pitchers going against. I think we lost 1-0. Had a guy left on third base that should have tagged up and scored to tie the game. So that was a little bit disappointing. In 2020, I'm trying to think. In 2016, that was a bye, so I guess that wouldn't have been a first game, because we beat Jordan in 2016 with our JV squad.
Oh, yes.
And so we got the 1 seed, the bye
With our
going.
JV squad he had.
Well, that was me, so that was exciting. And it was actually in Jordan when we won that game. So that was kind of exciting, because it did feel a little bit more like I did have something to do with that. Why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a pretty cool aspect of that year. They said 2020 Brody came back again, and we won our first game, I believe, in Sartell, and then lost the second game. Some fireworks at the end of the game. Brody Rodney got ejected thanks to Ed. Ed told the umpire some not so nice words. He thought Brody said it. So Brody got ejected, and didn't look great for him. I mean, being a minor league ball player, getting ejected, and obviously, like I said, it wasn't him. So I want to make that very clear. And then Ed got ejected shortly afterwards. So that was interesting. 22. I'm trying to even think.
You guys
We
played
played
Broughton and
Broughton,
Ryan
and I
Grahams.
think we lost about 7-3. Guy hit a 2-run bomb or 3-run bomb. But Ryan Graham's, yeah, a heck of a pitcher. Pitched like 60 innings yet this year. So
Where was that game at?
that's a great question.
2022.
Yeah, I can't remember where we were at.
I don't remember. I don't remember either. Oh, should have had him. Should have had him.
A little bit of a lollipop left. But yeah, I don't remember exactly where we were at, but it was good. It's a good experience. I mean, all the atmosphere, great ballpark. I mean, there's never a bad ballpark you're at, so that's always fun.
Absolutely.
Was that both your questions? No?
That was both my questions. Yes, that was very well
Long-winded
answered.
answer.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Anything else, Mitchell, you would like to add? Town ball wise, amateur baseball tournament, things for next year, anything that we maybe missed with you?
I guess the only thing, come support the teams, whether it's Jordan, Belle Plaine, and Green Isle this year, and
Yep.
Gaylord, Broughton, Glencoe, and Hutch next year. I mean, it definitely helps. You put all the work into the field, and
They look unbelievable.
whether you ever come to that field again, I mean, definitely appreciate it.
Yep.
It definitely supports the teams for years to come. I mean, we don't charge any players in Gaylord. We hats, belts, uniforms, that's all free. Free burgers, hot dogs, beverages after the game, thanks to the board.
Free food, nice.
So, I mean, it's all supplied based on running these tournaments. So that's kind of a big thing that we want to keep going in Gaylord. So.
Absolutely.
I have one more question that you have to answer.
Okay.
Who are your must-haves in fantasy football? So I know who you're going to take.
Yeah. Must-haves in fantasy football.
He's not actually going to answer this, is he?
I don't know. There's a couple sleepers out there that I won't say.
Somebody get a notepad and a pen.
But what pick are we talking about here?
I don't know. Whichever pick I have to make sure to take before you.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said,
One must-have, then we'll get moving on.
our two quarterback league's going to change a lot this year, for sure. I guess that's all I'll say.
He's going to take J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, it sounds like a good.
He thinks that knee's going to recover quickly.
There we go. J.J. McCarthy, folks. Heard it here first on the podcast. Anyways, Mitchell, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, for
Certainly
sure.
appreciate you chatting, and we'll look forward to doing the same thing next year, too, in Gaylord.
Perfect. Thank you, Lucas.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching,
Yup.
folks. Hello, folks. Welcome back to the beautiful mini-met here in Jordan, Minnesota for the 2024 State Amateur Baseball Tournament. Have a couple of Princeton Panthers players joining us here, Damon Rademacher, Jake Carlson. Thanks for joining, guys. We certainly appreciate it. Obviously, the results didn't quite go how we wanted it to, but just talk to me a little bit about how the season went leading up to that and how we got to this spot now.
Yeah, I mean, we came into this year with a couple newer, younger players that, our leadoff hitter today, Eli Gibbs, he's going to get that college experience this summer at Southwest. And then the starting pitcher, Mason, he pitches at Winona right now. And so that was their first summer with the Panthers. And last year we had kind of an older veteran squad and took on some newer faces this year and, scheduled quite a few games. I think we played about 31 games on the summer.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, we did a couple tournaments and played a couple non-conference teams, some Class B teams, and just a good mix of some decent ball clubs that we could kind of see some better pitching with, and just kind of get us to a point where when we do get down here, if we did, which we were fortunate enough to this year, we'd be able to put good at bats together. So that was kind of our emphasis on this year as far as scheduling goes.
Absolutely. And then as the season went on, obviously a lot of things change. Weddings come up. Sometimes people can't show up to things for sure. But as the season progressed, then actually leading up to state, kind of how we wanted it to go.
Yeah, I mean, the tournament, we came out of our region split into north and south. We came out of the south undefeated and ultimately came down, and the draw that we ended up getting was a favorable draw for us. And, yeah, kind of just put the hammer home and made it to where we wanted to be.
Absolutely. Now, have you guys had a chance to be in state before, both of y'all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. We've been in 2 state tournaments.
Okay.
The both of us have. Yep.
So what has been your favorite memory of being in the state tournament? Just the kind of lead up with it all, the actual game, or maybe something different?
I'm huge on really nice ballparks. I love playing on a good playing surface,
absolutely.
and obviously the mini-met is kind of taken the crown as
It's tough to beat, man.
Yeah, it's really fun to play at nice parks, and just the atmosphere too, because Class C Townball is some of the best amateur baseball around, and it's just fun to be a part of.
Absolutely. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely. We'd gone to state probably, it was 3 or 4 years ago our last time here, and we won a game in the 8th inning, bunted a guy over. Next guy kind of did what he did. We won it 1-0, and we were out hit 13-4, but we ended up scrapping that one out. So that was probably the best memory I got.
Yeah, the timely hitting. You got the timely hitting when you needed it. Yeah, that's good. Now, goals for next year, obviously to get back to state. Same guys returning, many potential new guys, or what's kind of the outlook looking for next year's season going?
We've got a couple high school kids that have expressed some interest on wanting to play.
Okay.
So we'll probably take them on. Obviously, we're going to be moving to Class B from the sounds of it.
Okay.
So that'll be, something a little bit different, but probably a lot of the same faces. Where we've got a really good young core Our second baseman's our oldest guy. He's 29, so
wow.
he's getting up there a little bit. But then you look at a team like Nisswa, their average age has got to be 30 years old across the board, you know,
Sure.
and they're still doing their thing. So, as of right now, we should have the same guys back next year.
Now, a question that I like to ask everyone kind of to close it out. If you've listened to the podcast before, definitely repeating it, but I love asking it. Townball outside of Minnesota, a lot of people probably don't know too much about it, and people in Minnesota too. Some don't know too much about it maybe. If you've had the question of when somebody asks you what Townball is, you know, I know for me, like I get is it like a beer league slow pitch softball? Like is it, you know, a 35 up team? Like what is it? What is typically your go-to response and the best way to describe what Townball is to someone?
Yeah, usually what I tell them is it's the most competitive game that there is for adults.
Yeah.
It's in the state of Minnesota, you won't find a more competitive league anywhere in any sport other than Townball.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Damon said it best, right? I mean, it's addicting. You
Yeah.
know, that's a good word for it. Is you get done playing and you're like, gosh darn it, when are we starting again next summer? You know, and it's fun. And I think the best part about the state tournament is you know, not only playing with your buddies and stuff, but is getting to play with other players from your region that you can draft.
Yep.
And you know you're going to see a good arm, and any arm that comes out of the pen or whatever scenario it is, you know it's going to be a really good arm, and it just showcases how good the talent is around the state outside of just everyday baseball.
I agree 100%. I think I've mentioned it a couple times, but I just love how, and I think it's unique, obviously, with the terrible weather that we get in Minnesota during like the December months. I think I don't know if we would appreciate it as much as we do now, just because we can't play year round, you know. So being able to do it now, it seems like you anticipate forever for the season to come, and then it's just over in a minute like that.
The fun part is you guys will see Foley, the Lumberjacks. They won region or the Victory League this year and came out the 1 seed. There's a guy that played high school baseball and then went on to play at Butler's. His name's Tony Stay.
Wow.
He lives in Florida now, and he flies back numerous times during the summer to get his 4 games in, and then
incredible.
he'll fly in for the state tournament to play. So, you can just see how addicted and how much he loves the game because, I mean, the guy, he'll do whatever it takes to be at a game and make sure that he gets ready to play, too.
That's awesome. That's what it's all about, you know? That's what it's all about. Anything else that you guys want to mention, talk about? Could be anything with Princeton, Townball, state tournament?
Next year, I believe we're going to host the Fox 9 Townball Tour in Princeton next year.
Okay,
so,
all right.
We're
Put that on the
fortunate.
calendars, folks.
We've
Yeah.
got a beautiful field. The biggest thing is just trying to find the funding to keep the field rolling.
Sure.
You know,
Yep.
and
Yep.
like I was talking with these Jordan guys, is they have so many local sponsors. And,
Yeah,
such a
absolutely.
great crowd every night where they do have that liquid flow of cash that comes in that allows them to keep this park looking so nice. And so I think that'll be the biggest ticket on our schedule for next summer. And it sounds like we'll play Hinckley.
Okay.
That's what we're going to try to do, and that's just that's a rivalry game.
Is it?
I
Okay.
mean, that'll be a really fun game, and Hinckley travels well, and we've been having good crowds. So I think that'll be kind of the highlight for next summer for us, up until the tournament.
Damon, anything else you want to add to that? Hit the nail on the head.
Yep, that's what we're looking for next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on, chatting some downball. Best of luck to next year's season. Would love to have you guys on again and chat a little bit more.
For sure. Thanks for having us.
All right,
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to the beautiful mini-met here in Jordan, Minnesota for day 3 of the 2024 State Amateur Baseball Tournament. We are here with Scott Brimehorst. Scott, thanks for joining.
Hey, you bet. This is awesome.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We certainly love having new faces come on, so we appreciate it. We appreciate it.
You bet.
Now, talk to me a little bit. What's your role here at the mini-met? What all do you do?
So I grew up in that house over the left field fence.
Okay.
So my role has been, since I was born, I've been here doing something.
Yeah.
Going back to like 73 when I was born, that was the 50th tournament. My dad was one of the co-chairs.
Okay.
Now I'm one of the co-chairs. Specifically, I'm in charge of all the volunteers.
Okay.
So I've been, for the last few weeks, just scheduling and getting people lined up and all of that. And in between, odd jobs. I literally painted the outfield wall last week.
There we go.
And everything in between.
Shane can appreciate that. He's a painter at trade
Love
too.
Love it.
And you do some work with the manual scoreboard out here too.
Yeah, every once in a while, it's like the best place to watch a game. I mean, there's a lot of great places to watch a game here, but
absolutely.
It's a cool view and just dialogue with the right fielder.
Yeah.
The entire game, it's a blast.
Yeah, the old-fashioned, non-electric scoreboard that's being updated live I've always loved that.
Yep, exactly.
You got like the stoplights for balls and strikes. I've always thought.
Make sure you get up into the actual press box and look. They are old school, like switches, like light switches.
Wow.
That talk to that. Yep.
Nice.
So if there's anything the city of Jordan will codify in law, it will be that will never be an electronic scoreboard, and we will never have advertising on the fence.
Okay. Wow, that'd be awesome. That's
Have you ever
great.
had to dodge a home run on the scoreboard?
Oh yeah.
I was talking earlier. I'm like, I wonder if anybody's hit the Jordan baseball on there. That would be a nice shot.
That has happened before.
It has.
Oh,
All right,
absolutely.
confirmed.
Okay, there we go.
Confirmed.
Confirmed
Now,
on the
a lot of
pod.
years ago, that was actually down at field level. So when we were doing the scoreboard, we'd sit where that tower is.
Yeah.
I'm pointing like your podcast.
Yeah. Well, we'll take some pictures and show everyone. This is what he's talking about.
I was pointing too.
So you'd sit in that tower box, which was a squared box, and there was a little tiny door big enough for a 10-year-old kid to get out, and you would just watch the game, walk out every half inning, and hang stuff up.
Wow.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's got to be awesome.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. So talk to me a little bit about how state's been going this year for you guys. Obviously, 10,000 different people doing 10,000 different jobs here. What was the biggest takeaway before leading into state that you were focusing on the most trying to get ready?
Yeah, so 2 years ago, I was sitting with Jason Schlepsky, who's the manager of the Brewers and longtime friend. And
friend of the program.
He drew up a picture of that party deck on a napkin.
Really?
And he said, I think we should do this before the tournament. And I've been in fundraising and donor development for a long time. I'm like, well, that's like a capital campaign you're talking about now. That's not a pass the hat around the
who's
bar
gonna
at
do
Clancy's. So about $700,000 later, for the last 2 years, we've been all of this is brand new. The backstop has all been redone. Dug out 10 feet. We did drain tile. Nobody knows about that because you don't see drain tile. But left field does not pool up anymore. That was a massive job. Greystone Construction, City of Jordan, just a lot of different organizations pumped money, time, and effort into everything you guys are looking at here.
Yeah.
So everything from the rail forward, behind home plate, the party deck, under party deck, and then the entire right field line with all those benches is all brand new. So
A lot of work.
a lot of it's been that. Then obviously just making the field perfect.
Right.
Last week we replaced home plate entirely. And if you've ever done that before with a clay home plate, you know that that's not a small job.
Wow.
So funny story, they got it all done last Sunday morning at like 8:30 a.m.
Uh-huh.
And then they tamped it with a big, huge tamper machine, and the vibrations turned the plate a little bit. So they literally had to redo it all.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
Yeah, so home plate's been replaced twice for the tournament.
Okay.
That's commitment right there.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah,
Mitchell
I'm al-
Matthews is doing
I'm
Gaylord
always
next year. Something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
I'm always impressed with how much work you guys put in. Like, you got so many helping hands. It seems like the town really comes
It's
together
crazy.
for baseball
So we have,
in this city.
We have two very full active teams, obviously, with the Brewers, probably 25 guys or whatever.
Yep.
Then we have the Millers, our over 35 team.
Representing, I see here.
And we have,
Absolutely.
we have about 20 on our roster, and half of them are up there grilling burgers right now.
That's great.
Every one of them has been here for the rolling sod, changing that turf out in front of the mound.
Yep.
We replaced the ball on the scoreboard. I mean, it's death by a
village.
million cuts, kind of like. There's just so much
Yeah.
that has gone on. So,
Yep.
long answer to your question.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely. If you have a free discretionary second,
Yeah, absolutely.
and you were into baseball in Jordan, you were here looking for a paintbrush or anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's great.
Yep.
Now,
I've
I wanna-
always said, and you can ask anybody, I've always said this is my favorite park
Yep.
to play.
Love it.
Always has
Love
been.
it.
Yep.
It is a fun park to play.
It is.
And I can't retire, according to my mom, until I can't hit anymore. So I will
hasn't
still
happened
be
yet.
roaming around left field maybe for about another decade.
You
But
do what
I
mom
think
wants.
Exact. For an amateur park, having a short left and right field,
Yeah.
where the home run is in play for a lot of guys.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone likes to see the long balls,
Yeah.
right?
And
Chicks
then
dig
just
the long
beautiful,
ball.
ability to watch a game from absolutely anywhere.
Yep.
I mean, it's second to none.
Now I want to know a little bit more about Scott, the baseball player. Now, did we start growing up, obviously Jordan Millers now. Were you a Jordan Brewer at one point?
Yeah.
And just talk to me about the transition that you've had
So
in your
I'm
town ball career.
Absolutely a mediocre amateur baseball player who had a great role with the Brewers, which was beat it in the ground and run as fast as I can.
Hey.
Okay.
like
works
it.
for Nick, too,
That's-
a lot of the
that's
time.
literally
Yep,
what we do.
that's basically all
Later
my
in my
hits.
career, I would pinch hit for Gilly Buss and get a bunt down,
Okay.
and then run for him until he came back up. But that was my role. Play some outfield, track down some fly balls. So as a kid, I grew up obviously playing here in high school. Played 1 year for St. Benedict in the DRS, and then Brewers for several stints over forever. Until I got promoted to the over 35 team, and I've been there for 9 years now.
So your top 5 all-time. Wife is number 1 though.
Yeah,
for letting
the
you
fact
play.
that Molly is like, yeah, go ahead, be the co-chair of the tournament, play some baseball. I mean, we literally played yesterday morning, and then we came here, and our state tournament was in St. Peter, so we had our last game yesterday, and yeah, she's a saint. She's a saint.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ball playing career of me is kind of like my dad. He was a pretty good ball player. He's in the Hall of Fame in Minnesota, but not for being a player.
Okay.
Because he took care of basically everything outside the lines here for about 50 years.
Awesome. That's amazing. Wow.
Yep.
So you've especially then, I'm sure it's got to be awesome to see the progression of from when you were a kid to see it now. I mean, that's got to be just amazing.
So if you guys are bored, come up by the state board trailer later.
Mm-hmm.
My mom unearthed these old binders of pictures from the 69 tournament, 73 and 81.
Wow.
They're unbelievable.
You have to stop
But what's
by
really
there.
cool is the pictures of the guys who are like doing the work in 1969 look just like the guys doing the work now. Like I see Jonathan Draheim standing over there.
Yeah.
There was a tall guy that looked like him, but it's 60 years ago. You know,
It's crazy.
I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. So, and the progression has been interesting. Like, it's a lot of it's just right in front of you here.
Yeah.
It's the backstop. It's the right field line.
Everything's been pretty true to how it is now.
Yeah.
Back
Originally,
then, too.
back in the 30s to the 60s, home plate I think was over there.
Okay.
So this
Really?
has shifted. Yep. The creek was wide open, so you could see the little river running by it. Like that's obviously grown in.
Yep.
But everything else is the same. I mean, you can still see the church through the pockets of trees and the steeple that's up there 100 years ago. And yeah, at that point, not much changes actually.
Right.
We've just improved our ability to cut grass. Well,
Able to see where the foul balls go a while ago, not so much
it's
now.
an expensive park. If you guys ever get
Yeah.
a game here and you have to bring balls, just bring 24 every game.
There wasn't many that went out last game, but I've seen some games here. It's like, oh my gosh,
Yep.
we must have gone through a box and a half of balls.
Yeah, we raised the net a little bit and moved it in.
Okay.
And we calculated literally how much it would cost to raise it another 10 feet. We're like, it's not worth that. Just lose some more balls.
Yeah.
So yeah, as we
As we
mentioned that,
speak,
yeah,
there's one
gets
that's just
over.
gone.
Yep,
Uh,
650. Gone.
So you mentioned before you've been a part of a couple other state tournaments that Jordan's been able to host too.
Mm-hmm.
What is something that, I guess, going into the first one that you helped with, that you would have liked to have known before getting into it, and then maybe even to this one? Is there anything that it would have been nice to know before to make your life a little bit easier leading up to it? Or is it just a lot of kind of figure it out as you go, reactionary type stuff?
It's a great question. I think from the volunteer organization side, which is a massive operation, now day 3, we know a lot that we could have done 2 weeks ago.
Sure.
Around how we organize things. And so I think it's more organizational behind the scenes. State board does a great job of communicating with teams and getting, obviously the brackets, but just making sure the rules are very straightforward and clear. And we were really well staffed with volunteers. I mean, down here underneath the party deck, you're looking at how many guys in a gray shirt. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
they could each take 5 square feet of infield for grooming and they'd be fine.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
no, I think the lessons learned over the last 55 years, right? We've been hosting tournaments here, and maybe before that, I'm just not aware, but
Sure.
have paid off.
Yeah.
And then this town rallies.
Yep.
So the mayor was here yesterday taking tickets.
Oh, wow.
Representative Ben Bakeberg was here as a team host. And between those guys and the entire city council, they've pushed social media out. I have volunteers coming in just can I do anything?
Right.
Really?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
So if this is advice for any other town
Yeah,
doing this, if that's
absolutely.
kind of why the
Yeah,
question's
yeah.
been asked, I would say get on that volunteer stuff early.
Yeah.
Make it super fun. Find a good spot for a cooler where they don't have to pay for their Coors Lights, and then you're going to be good to go.
And I think clearly the state board has taken note of how well you guys organize tournaments when out, as you're getting state in 2 years from now also,
Yeah,
right?
we're the third site with Shaco and New Prague. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a huge lift. Obviously, it's a big commitment. And this year, unlike any other year, I mean, I'm looking at that net out there. I remember the winter day when 40 of us showed up to just hang netting, and
Yeah.
it wasn't like any other year because we had massive capital campaign projects.
Sure.
So, and great donors who funded it. So, having been doing fundraising for a job for a lot of my career, you rarely fully fund a capital campaign especially in like a small town like this.
Yeah, right.
I mean, to come up with 675 or whatever it was, is pretty freaking unbelievable.
Now, the specialty beers, I got to say, is one of my favorite parts of the tournament. Jason, when we had him on the show a few weeks ago, was talking about it. We had Brett Kruschke talking about it, too. I think that's an unbelievable idea, and I would love to see that for the rest of the time. But I guess, did you have much of a hand in that process?
No, and if I did it, we would not have an IPA.
Okay.
In Jordan. I found out we had an IPA at some point when Jason said the one selfish thing I did was make sure we had an IPA because he wanted it. And I'm like, that tastes like gasoline to me. So I'll just buy one so I have the can, I guess, but I'm going to just drink Coors Lights. I'm the guy that walks into a brewery and just asks what the closest thing to a Coors Light is, and then they hand me something.
Yeah, what's the lightest thing you have? All right.
Yeah,
I'll go
so there are two of them in there that are really, I think, really good. The Green Isle one is great,
Yeah.
and the 101 or 169.
Yep.
The one that's named
Shane, you said one of them is a sour beer, right?
Yep, the Tiger Town.
That's the Belle Plaine
sour.
one.
Yep.
I'm out on that. Just give me the Coors Light. We're fine. I have a can in my garage.
My brother would be all for the sour one.
That's good. That's good. Last question I have for you, though. Talking about town ball, it's a question I like to ask everyone because everyone's answer is a little bit different. It's got some lumber there with someone's broken bat.
Jeez, he is not getting down the line very well.
No. Town ball obviously is a super unique thing to Minnesota and people in other states, and even people in Minnesota might not know too much about it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you've gotten the question over the years, but what is the best way to describe what town ball is in Minnesota? What's a good elevator pitch that you would give them?
Oh, man. Elevator pitch. I should have prepared for this one.
It can be more than like 30 seconds, too, however long.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, it's completely unique.
Yep.
I mean, knowing people who played baseball and guys in college I played with who came from other states, and like there's nothing like this anywhere, and it's kind of like trying to tell somebody what chocolate tastes like. It's like you just have to have a piece of chocolate and then you'll get it. Like a bunch of my friends are not really into town baseball, but they're here watching. They came to Friday night's game, and now they're like, I'm never not going to be at this tournament for the rest of the tournament. So
that might be the best elevator pitch I've heard.
Yeah, no, that's great. Chocolate.
It's kind of like chocolate. That might be the best one I've heard yet.
It's impossible to try to explain what it's like to watch the Jackson Bulls or the frickin' Atwater Chuckers.
Yep.
And those kids in Jordan, who grew up watching, not me so much because I didn't play all that much, but watching the Beckmans and the Busses and the guys like that and everybody over in Arlington and
well, Shane Olson, our tech guy, is from Jordan here.
Okay.
So he grew up watching a lot of those games and
they can't wait for that.
Boy.
They can't wait for that. They can't wait to be in that uniform if they can be. So actual town ball, like real live town ball, not just recruit a bunch of guys and go play in a field somewhere.
Yeah.
Is like a passion. Well, maybe the greatest way of explaining it is the day that I had to tell my dad I wasn't going to play college baseball anymore because literally
There's
my
another
classes all
baseball gone.
conflicted.
Yeah.
And I'm like, either I take another semester of college or I'm done. And he's not mad because he's like, you're just going to play for the rest of your life right here.
That's
I'm
awesome.
like, okay.
Easiest conversation.
Message done. So it's that kind of special thing. And then, these guys go home and they're a teacher in the school.
Work their 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Yep.
I loved last night. We had Piers, and Buckman here at the same time, and a lot of the guys live
The Billy Goats.
in Piers, and you know what I mean? So it's like there's some bleed between the towns and little rivalries here and there, and it's impossible to have a perfect elevator pitch for somebody who doesn't get it. You just have to kidnap them, drag them here, put their ass in the grandstand, and you watch the game.
Give them some chocolate.
And
Some chocolate.
Yeah. And a Brewed beer.
That's right. That's right. Anyways, so town ball wise, that's kind of all that we had for you right now. Is there anything else you wanted to plug, mention, bring up? It could be tournament wise, Jordan Brewers, Jordan Millers.
Yeah. So, I mean, as far as for your listeners, get around to the parks.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to Green Isle the other day. It's absolutely unbelievable. You could putt on their infield.
Yeah.
Belle Plaine is such a cool place to watch a game.
Just
That
missed
should have
it.
been caught.
Just missed it.
Yeah. For anybody who's never been to Belle Plaine, you have like a 5 million 100 feet center field with a flagpole in play.
That is very true.
Yep.
And then
Used to be a
just
football
come
field.
to Jordan, park yourself somewhere, and sit by. This is what I did the other day. I sat by some Webster guys and just talked to them about their town.
Absolutely.
If you're just kind of into Minnesota stuff, like sitting at the mini met with a bunch of guys from Atwater, talking about how they used to play in 1984.
Yeah, a couple of brews.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you just won't be able to talk. You will not talk. It's like if you run into Kim Gleeden in Arlington back in the day, you're not talking. You're just going to sit there and listen to stories.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And it's the best.
It's good. Well, anyways, thank you so much for coming on. We certainly appreciate it. And you have an open invite anytime you want to come on. Chat some ball, chat some town ball.
Yeah, for sure. Let me know.
Yep.
Over 35 is fun. I don't really need to do an elevator pitch for that. We just are old guys still trying to play. The show is here, though. The show is here for sure. And thanks for being out here.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening, folks. Hello, folks. Welcome back to the beautiful Mini Met here in Jordan, Minnesota. We've got a couple of St. Joseph Townball players here joining the show. Fresh after the win in state. We've got Tanner. We've got Lucas. Fantastic name, once again. Got to point that out for you. But congrats on the win. So talk to me a little bit about how this game went for you. Obviously a pitcher's duel most of the time. Eventually broke through, got a couple of runs there. What was the game plan going into this one for you guys?
We had some guys that had a little bit of a knowledge on Jackson. We didn't know a ton, but regardless, we just knew that we had to show up at 1:30 ready to play.
You kind of just ride your best guy at this point in the season, you know. We had plenty of pitchers ready to go, but with Joey throwing out, I don't think I've seen the guy that locked in. I've played with him since high school.
Yeah.
He was just on a different level today, and we just rode him, honestly, and then some clutch hitting by Tanner Stoller with the 2-run bomb. That's all we needed.
Yeah.
Do you know how many strikeouts you had?
He had 9.
9. He was shoving. He was shoving.
Up there.
Yeah, that was good. Now, talk to me a little bit about the season that you guys had this year. Mindset going in, obviously, is always get to state, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was the team looking like before the season started, and then kind of walk me through the progression on how the season went leading up to state?
We definitely had high hopes at the start of the season because we knew the guys we were getting back, and we have so much confidence in the guys who we were getting back. So, I mean, the goal at the start of the season was state, and throughout the season, it was just one of those things where we knew when we had our 9 guys there, we were beating anyone. So it was definitely a lot of confidence this year for sure.
Yeah, a lot of us have played together for a long time since high school or even Little League. So team chemistry is at an all-time high right now. We're just having fun being with the boys. We've come up short, one game away from state the last few years. Finally broke through this year, so we're looking to make a little noise and just take advantage of the opportunity.
So is this both of your guys' first state appearance then?
So I had gone in 17 for sure.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe 16, but yeah, it's been about 7-8 years for us.
Yeah, I've never been to state.
This is your first time.
Of course, when I get a torn labrum, but I'm here to support the boys.
Hey, next year, right?
Little player manager, but I'm having a blast, man. This
That's
team's
good.
so fun. Just love the guys.
Yeah.
So,
St. Joseph, that's like St. Cloud area, right?
Yep.
Now, so what high school would that have been?
We're mostly Apollo guys, few Cathedral, a couple Tech sprinkled in, but a lot of Apollo guys. So we've played together forever, so it's just we really gel with this group well.
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, you mentioned obviously have a solid crew together. That's great. So kind of a two-part question. With this being now your second time back for you, what's the big difference that you've noticed from the first time you went to state to now? And then for you, being at your first time in state, has it kind of been everything you thought it would be?
You know, honestly, it was so long ago that I went, and I was just so young and dumb. I don't think I truly soaked in everything that was happening. But now that I'm finally old enough to come here and play at a beautiful baseball field like this, it is pretty surreal. Just seeing all the people here who just love amateur baseball. Now I'm definitely soaking it in more.
Yep.
Yeah, it's awesome to have so many fans at the games. We had Townball Tour last year and had a couple thousand out at our park, so we got a little taste. But it's always fun playing in front of a big crowd. I notice the pitching is, amped up a notch. Everybody's got their best pitchers plus a couple draftees who are their team's best pitchers. So, I expect a lot of low-scoring ball games, but when we got the staff we do throw, and we can compete with the best, I feel like.
Yeah, if anyone's pitching like the first dude, you guys are going to have a good time.
Yeah.
You guys are going to have a good time for sure. So last question I have for you guys. It's something I like to talk and ask all the folks that come on our show, but Townball, is such a unique thing to Minnesota and really to the rest of the country. Not a lot of people know much about it. So I'm sure you guys have had the question before, but when someone comes up to you and asks you, what is Townball? What is the best way that you would describe it to someone who maybe has no clue what it's about?
I think I got something, if you want to think on it.
Absolutely.
I would just say competitive beer league.
Okay.
I'd say it's a bunch of kids who didn't give up on the dream quite yet, don't want to shut it down, still just trying to soak up every ounce of being a kid as we can. And I mean, we certainly act like kids in that dugout. We're a bunch of goofballs, but we just have such a great time playing together, and it's always a highlight of the summer, just getting together with the boys every weekend.
Yep. I like that. Baseball in its purest form. I like to explain it for sure. Anything else that you guys want to plug, bring up, mention before we let you loose here?
I just want to give another shout out to Joe. He pitched an absolute gem for us today.
Absolutely.
9 innings. There was no point in the game at all where I felt worried a single bit there out in center. So beautiful job by him.
Yeah, just an all-around team effort today. I'm proud of our guys, and I'm ready to make a little noise in this tournament. We got a tough test with Buffalo, but you know, with the way we pitch today, I feel like we can compete with anybody.
Absolutely. Well, best luck the rest of the way, guys.
Appreciate
Thank you for coming on. We'd love
Thank
to
you.
have you on in the future. Thanks, folks. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that was the show today. I think we got to chat with some great folks today from Princeton, from St. Joe's, from Jordan. Gaylord Islanders manager Mitchell Matthews joined us on the show too, which was great. So we certainly appreciate and are very thankful for all of them coming on and providing some insight of what it's like being in state.
Yeah, definitely. It's always fun to hear other people's stories and whatnot about state.
Yep.
I mean, us personally, I haven't been there.
Yeah.
And we just thank everyone for coming on, and I had a blast.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thank you, folks, for tuning in, and once again, a huge thank you to the board for allowing us to be here at the Mini-Met in beautiful Jordan, Minnesota, allowing us to be here, and would love to be back in the future. So be in tune, folks. And as for Nick and myself, until next time, we are out.